Hi there. You've been asking about how to get lateral pole flexion and how to get it on the ground. And so I'm going to try to show you some of the things that we're talking about, how to work with your horse to get them more supple in the pole. You want to start in a place where hopefully the horse is quiet, so the barn aisle is good. They can be in their halter to start with. You know, sometimes it's the stall. She's a little looking around today. I have no idea why, so that's probably pretty typical of what might happen with a horse. What you're trying to do is to get her to actually laterally flex her pole. Keeping her face perpendicular, you want her to keep her face perpendicular and to bring her pole around. So you can see in this direction that today she's a little bit stiff. She's very preoccupied apparently with the camera. And so there we go. There we go. So that you can see what you're doing, right where the horse's pole is the back of their occiput. That's the back of your skull. It backs right up to C1 and C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7 is under her withers, cervical vertebra. And what you're looking for her to do is to relax this area. And when this area is tight, you're going to be massaging this area to get them to actually turn at the pole. And yeah, good girl. And you want them to turn and try to keep their face vertical. Now this side she's tight today. So I'm going to step over here so you can see what I'm doing. And right at the top of her neck, right up here, she's tight today. And I can feel these muscles are tight. And I'm massaging them and I'm bringing her around. Some of these exercises where they get some cookies for doing this is great. But a lot of them also tilt their head. So tilting is this, which you don't want. But you do want her, so when they're tight, you do want them, so you massage this area and you ask gently, and sometimes you keep your hand there. Now she tilted a little, but she's coming, that's good. Did you also see her go face vertical? That's a good thing because she's starting to flex directly at the pole, which is part of coming round to the bridle or on the bit that we need. Hopefully your horse is going to be quiet, but she's not being particularly cooperative today, and that's going to happen to you. This is going to happen. So one of the things you keep doing is just handling them gently, moving them around. So now she's over here, you may be able to see. She's very preoccupied with something out the window. We have a lot of wildlife here, so in the morning it can be really, okay, so she relaxed a little bit, came right around. So keeping the face. Now, two things, these are the TMJs right through here, and this is really a big deal to keep these massaged, so that's a good thing. So you're going to keep massaging this area to keep her loose, gently with your hand, ask them to go around. Sometimes we actually stand right in front of them and do this to try to get them massage and massage. And she has to give. Come on. She's very preoccupied. You're going to have this problem. That's a good thing actually for me to demonstrate how this is going to go for you. There we go. Now some of these exercises where you get a cookie or a carrot. Oh, come here. Cookies. Boy, she's preoccupied today. And where they come around. These are good exercises to do. So you want to do all of this, but you also want to work on them being face perpendicular and willing to go. Now I'm going to put the bridle on and show you how this looks when you put the bridle on, because now it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, it's the same idea, but then you got a bridle on. So if you do it on with and without a bridle, that's a good thing. And then you have to transfer this to a bit aid. And that's what we're going to do. So right now, I'm just going to turn the camera off for a minute, get the bridle, and be right back with you. Okay, now we're continuing to talk about asking horses on the ground to flex at the pole. And what is going to happen to you is you're going to get some neck bend. So before, when I just had her halter on, I know the first thing I'm going to get is someone texting me going, hey, you got neck bend. It's probably going to happen. Like you're just trying to supple the pole, but you're going to get some neck bend too. And it's a side effect of working on this. When you begin to ride, you're going to be able to limit neck bend. And you're going to learn how to get primarily just pole flexion. But right now on the ground, when you start a horse and on the ground, this happens. Don't freak out. I know it's more than we want, and we're trying to get lateral pole flexion, but you'll probably get some neck bend too. I did, and she was very preoccupied this morning. So horses, they're not always in the best frame of mind when you try to start doing this stuff. So you're doing the best you can. You're just trying to supple them. You just do it gently, and you keep massaging the areas that are tight, and you'll see that they'll come around and they'll get better at this. Now what I did was I put her bridle on. So she has a couple of different Western bridles, but this is my preferred one. So it has kind of an English style bit. I'm going to turn her sideways. You got a little D-ring in here with 2 joints in it. So it's got a real flexible mouthpiece. Now what is the deal about, you know, having several joints or one joint or having a snaffle in there is that lateral pole flexion is this request. It's turning the side of the bit, and it's turning. So holding one side of the bit and turning it while you keep the other one steady. So this is why when you begin this work, working in an English style snaffle bit, not even a snaffle with a curve, because the shank interferes with turning the bit to start with. That's why so many young 4-year-old Western horses are started in snaffles, because really experienced trainers know that in head-setting horses, and they don't even call it getting them on the bit because they're not working on round and forward and through like we are, but setting horses' heads, getting to manipulate the neck, the pole, the jaw, a snaffle is the easiest way to go. So anything that's jointed and without a shank to start with. And you can always put those in afterwards, but it's really, really hard to train a horse to do this on a shank bit. Now, the one thing that does come up is people say to me, well, can you get this on a regular, you know, non-jointed curve? It's almost impossible. I won't say you can't get it, but you have to have trained for years in a snaffle before anything like that might even occur on this. The reason dressage people at high levels ride with 2 bits is because they're doing the bending on the snaffle. In a double bridle, the bending is done on a snaffle. And if they need more, I need to get that horse together, collected, and I don't mean collected up, but people that talk about head setting them, getting them shorter in the neck, more face vertical, rounder to the bit, that's what you use a curve for. And so that's why dressage people use double bridles, is they're bending on the snaffles and they're setting the horse's head on the curve. And that's why now in FEI, they don't care if you ride in a snaffle, because it's harder to ride in a snaffle, but you need the snaffle for the bending. You can't just ride on a curve because you have difficulty getting the bending. And that's the thing we're talking about here. So in the snaffle, you begin, you get your bridle on, and you begin to do the same thing. I'm going to turn her sideways just a little bit more so that you can see that she was a little bit stiffer this morning this way. So it's way up here that I was massaging, which is her pole area. That can be out. Sometimes people need chiropractors. They sometimes need the massage girls. Definitely her muscle feels different today. Oh, you're okay, it's okay. That's going to happen to you. I don't know what she saw out the window, but you know, try to keep them calmed down. And you keep massaging this area, and then massage it and bring her around. And it's all about the pole rotation, not so much the neck bend, but you're going to get some neck bend. You're going to get some. It happens. So next, you're trying to teach the horse that when you turn the snaffle, so when you turn the snaffle and the cheek piece pops out, that is when your snaffle turns, and that's lateral pole rotation. And you can see that this horse already has that. So she already does this. See that? She keeps her pole right at the same position, but she's willing to just bring it around left and right. Now I'm going to turn her sideways so you can see how this works a little bit. And then, of course, later we're going to do a video that's going to teach you the half halts, the leg seat and hand positions. We have a master class coming on the leg seat and hand positions while you're on the bit to get lateral pole flexion. It's part of the half halt series. But what you're looking at here is that when you turn a snaffle, so when you turn your hand over, and so you see her turn her head, I turn my hand over, and when that happens, the cheek piece pops out. If your cheek piece is so tight, or your bit is hung so tight that the cheek piece can't pop out, you have your snaffle hung like a gag bit. They pull up all the time. They're too tight. People that go on and on that there should be 3 wrinkles, well, there's a couple of wrinkles there, but this horse's bit, it's not tight in her mouth, and it should not be tight in their mouth. It just hangs there and it touches them, but it shouldn't hang tight because you have to be able to. It's too bad that this isn't her English bridle because it's hard to see this, but I'm going to take the, I'm actually going to take that off for a second. That's her, not even threaded in, her cavison. I'm going to take her cavison off so you can see this. There you go. All right, so when you turn this cheek piece, it pops out a little bit. You can see it popping out. The Western leather bits are pretty stiff. So, I mean, the leather is pretty thick, so you can't see it, but if that was her English snaffle, you could see it. So what happens is that I take up the reins to get up here. She's pretty tall. Put the bite over on the right, and I turn my hand. Hi, are you paying attention? She goes, I'm looking out the window. So then she turned her head to the left a little bit, so pole flexion. So now I'll do pole flexion right, and I turn the bit. Good. Let's see if I can do it again. This is, I'm turning the bit, good to the right. So she's a little stiff to the right. Sorry, she's a little stiff to the right today, better to the left. And this is how you're going to begin to do this, is that you begin to turn the bit, turn her head, turn the bit, turn the bit, turn her head, and massage if you have to. Turn the bit, turn a snaffle, turn one side of it, and kind of work her around here. And what you're teaching her is, I flex the bit, I turn one side of a snaffle is the request for lateral aid. That's the aid for lateral pole flexion. Okay, hoping this is clear enough to start with, because we have a master class coming on half halts, 6 weeks of just this. And it's going to be our second master class series right after the training wheel. So join us for the training wheel. Then just join us for the half halts this winter. You could be really getting your horse around to the bridle and more active and forward and through. Thanks. Hug your horses for me. Bye.